This past May, XDefiant officially launched in the preseason phase. At the time and following its announcement about 2 years and some months ago, the discussion of it becoming the next COD Killer was one of the frequent topics that ended up surrounding this game, alongside plenty of people believing that it would not be able to survive based off the aesthetic of the game. Next thing you know, May 28, 2024 rolls around and the game is a hit. That chatter from 2021 of it being a COD killer is still lingering around during this time. Actually, lingering is definitely an understatement. But over these past 6 weeks, we've actually learned a lot about the XDefiant community. The people are really enjoying the game despite some of the flaws it may have or modes that it might be missing. The fact of the matter is, you can look past certain issues and hold off suggestions if the core experience of the game that you're playing is really enjoyable. In fact, the only glaring issue over these past 6 weeks has been the netcode. Somewhere along the lines, the team at Ubisoft San Francisco ended up putting out an update that aimed to remove some of the issues this netcode has been having, such as bullet registration and dying behind walls. And it's safe to say that yes, it is making progress, but the issue is still there. Though, as I mentioned a second ago, that ends up becoming unimportant when you can play for about 1 to 3 hours and just have a really solid time with the game. The point behind all of this is that the team at Ubisoft San Francisco has been showing goodwill with the player base very early on. I look to a situation that's similar to the finals. It's a new game from a new studio that captivated players' hearts very early. Despite a drop-off on Steam numbers following the game's actual launch, it was clear that people were really enjoying it. And even despite what some people might say, and even what's currently happening within their community, there is a sizable portion of people who are still enjoying that game. The difference here with Ubisoft and XDefiant is that Ubisoft already has an established reputation, albeit not a great reputation, but a reputation nonetheless. Aside from that, however, you or someone you know has indulged in a Ubisoft game at some point before, whether it be Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, maybe even Just Dance, so you're familiar with something this studio has done previously. And suddenly now they come out and say that they're going to be making a fast-paced arcade shooter, a COD-styled game. And lo and behold, the creative director on this game is none other than Mark Rubin, a former executive producer on some of the most highly regarded Call of Duty games. Just a quick little tidbit here that I'd like to add on for shits and giggles. This game was announced the same year that Call of Duty Vanguard came out. So obviously, being that it's from Ubisoft, they're going to have to prove themselves in the space first for people to start trusting them. At this point, it wasn't even about them making it in the FPS genre, it was about them making it as a game. Like, sure, yes, your game may be fun to play, but is it well balanced? Do you listen to player feedback? Do you overcharge for the shit that you put in the store? Etc, etc. And even games that don't do those things that I just listed properly still thrive. So at this point, it was going to be all up to how fun the game itself was to play. Just around the time that the preseason was ready to launch, the team came out and announced that they're starting a X debrief series where they go over some details of upcoming things that they'll be adding to the game. So things like new modes and season reveals, stuff like that. Now, for people who hadn't played the game previously, this is a huge thing for them because they get to catch up on all that they've been missing over the years that the game has been in playtest. And for those who have gotten into a playtest, there was probably still some information in here that you could extract that'll be useful to you on the day that the preseason launched. This type of communication and dev player interaction that we don't see that much in modern day multiplayer gaming is exactly what they needed to do to prove to us XDefiant has a chance and a future here to stay in the FPS space. Speaking of which, by the time this video is out, the XD brief for Season 1 should have already been released, in which case I'll watch through the whole thing and update you guys on some of the important stuff there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.